between Tonga and Fiji, there's a chain of islands called the Lau Group, who's a long chain of atolls, and some of them are quite narrow, so it's hard to get between the atolls, especially if we get there at night, which looks like, with the wind the way it is likely. So we've got two options: go through a passage north, which is originally what we intended, but now with the wind where it is, we're going to continue heading south.
Today has been all about patience. We're trying to really light winds. It's around 6-7 knots, which is not great downwind. Normally need minimum about 10 so that we can go around 4 knots. Right now we're going 2.8 knots, but thankfully we have current with us again, about a knot of current. Earlier in the wee hours we had a knot of current against us, so we're going super slowly. But I think, like a few boats we met along the way, like Shawnigan and Biker, who almost never motor, I think we've got to be more patient as we've gone along the trip, and we just sit through these quiet periods, slow patience.
Well, we're finally in Fijian waters, and we are just off the island of Draki. It's tantalisingly close, and looks like from the chart plotter that it's a good anchorage. It's a real shame we just can't go in.
The wind is still about 6 knots, so it looks like we'll be motoring for a long time to come, which really sucks, but at least we have a rainbow behind us, as Phil said, islands off to the starboard side, and a beautiful sunset ahead of us. So it's not all bad. I've had a shower, I've worked out, for about 3 weeks. I hope you don't find that a bit off, but yeah, I've been swimming all the time. It does feel very, very good to have fresh water on skin. And I'm not going to show you, but of course with no crew members it means that we can waltz around in the nutty, completely naked, and have showers in the nude as well, so very nice feeling.
From that.
Can I see the picture underneath? I cannot.
I made it look that I got knocked in the head by a coconut.
It does look a little crazy.
Yeah.
Where do you think it will end up?
I don't know. Most likely over there on that island.
Well, the good news is the wind has picked up. It's around 12 knots, so we're making good speed towards Viti Levu. The other thing is, there's quite a few islands to the south of the two main islands of Fiji, and they are quite sizable. One thing about sailing Fiji's waters, you have to be particularly careful about all the atolls that dot the whole ocean around here. It's rather disconcerting how many there are around here. We've essentially zigzagged our way through, jibed quite close to quite a few of them. The problem is that you really can't see some of these atolls at all. As you can see just off there, That lighthouse is right in the middle of a small atoll, yet there is absolutely no sign of any activity, no waves breaking over the atoll. But you go near it and you're going to really do a lot of damage to the boat, potentially sink. Now, two things we do to make sure that we're staying quite a lot off the atolls is firstly we zoom in quite a lot on our chart plotter, because as we mentioned earlier in this trip, it's only at particular resolutions that you can actually make out the full atoll. And it's two serious incidents over the last few years. Firstly, Vestas during the Volvo Ocean Race, where they didn't zoom in far enough on their chart plotter and ran aground on an atoll in the Indian Ocean. And just recently, our family was sailing through the Pacific and hit Beveridge Reef. Again, same thing. They hadn't zoomed far enough. They were staying at 100 kilometre or nautical mile resolution, and of course, at that resolution, they didn't see the reef. Now, everyone that we sail with does do exactly that, just to make sure they see the atolls.
It's a gorgeous evening, and I'm so glad that the wind has picked up, as Phil said. We've got a really nice motion through the water now, whereas before, when we were going so slowly, every wave was catching the boom until we knocked it back to about 140 wind angle, but then it's not really where we want to go. So now we're going where we want to go. We might actually round this waypoint and get past the island without jibing, but we'll see very soon. And meanwhile, just enjoying the beautiful sunset and the beautiful movement through the water. I don't think we said earlier, part of the reason we are not motoring much this trip, there's two reasons. One is we have a sailboat, the obvious, so we try to sail and not chew through too much diesel. And we've been inspired by a couple of other sailboats, Shawnigan and Biker, who hardly ever motor. And there's others out there too. And we thought we'd give that a go. So as I said the other day, it's just all about patience. Still working on that. And I guess, yeah, the boat is called Tranquilo, so we should get used to sailing a little Tranquilo and not always fast. Well, that's it for the island and the reef. We're past it. We just curved around on the one tack. It wouldn't have been a big deal to jibe, but it's just more satisfying somehow this way. We're just playing the wind, deciding on the angle we want.
One benefit of a self-taking head sail is that it makes it very easy to jibe when there's only one person on board. Instead of doing a traditional jibe, what you can do is what is called a granny jibe. Let me show you how to do it. Right now I'm in autopilot, so I'm going to take the helm, I'm going to put it to standby. Now I've got control of the wheel. And instead of turning out of the wind to bring the sails across, I'm actually going to head into the wind and what eventually becomes a tack and then bearing off again. So as you can see, the sails went gently around because we had the wind from the front, which pushed them across, rather than when you do a jibe where you're moving from one side of the wind to the other and just smacks it across. So even though it takes longer, it's essentially just a safer, more gentle way of jibing. Then I'm going to keep going around until I'm downwind again on a different tack. And then when I'm ready, back in autopilot. And it's a granny jibe.
Very strange thing we've just seen. There's a big plume of browny coloured water, greeny brown. First it was just a line and now there's lots of it through the water. I have no idea what it is. There's no ships around, we're not near an island. As Aidan said, maybe it's something from deep, from volcanic activity, which does happen around here. I have no idea.
Well, we're arriving in Viti Levu, the main island of Fiji. And there's definitely a new smell in the air, kind of forest and wet soil. It's been a while since we've smelled that. Probably last time was Marquesi.
Fiji. So the funny thing about coming into here is, unlike all our other crossings where you first see the place you're going to, we've just seen Fiji, get so excited, there's an island, we're not going there. Fiji, there's another one, and another one, and another one, and now it's like the 5th one we've seen, and this is ours, Fiji Levu. And the first thing I noticed coming upstairs this morning was I could smell the island. I've not had that before. I don't know what is on that island, but you can smell it from the sea. Oh, that way.
Fiji looks very dry, a lot drier than we thought. I was expecting a tropical island. It looks more like Australia out in the outback. The only thing that's missing is sheep.
How was breakfast?
Really good. I guess we're getting rid of all the last bits of food.
We are using all animal products, eggs mostly, and fruit and veg.
Why?
Because it says you have to declare them all, and again, I don't want to pay $167 for leftover things. We've arrived. We're on anchor. We're just outside Buddha Point Marina because it's a really narrow channel into the marina, around 3 metres. We draw 2.3, but each time we call, they're a bit sketchy about how deep it actually is, and it's not. It's new. It's a new channel, newly dredged, so it's not marked on Navionics that we have. So we're going to wait till high tide. Apparently there is a berth for us, and yeah, it's just a strange feeling. It's 10:15, just exactly at the very lowest tide, so we just have to be that little bit more patient until we can go in and make landfall and start the paperwork. Actually, it's the next thing, the cruising permits, immigration. Apparently there's health and quarantine, something else. Yeah. While we're waiting for the tide, Phil and I have started our rig check, and just noticed on the main halyard one of these places where I've whipped it before because it's worn through the Dyneema. It's obviously not so flash anymore, so I'm going to be trimming that and re-whipping the bottom half of this repair. Okay. Job done. Still an hour to go. We are now cleared into Fiji, but not without a bit of drama for our neighbours here at Pecadora, who are rafted up next to us. They grounded the first time they attempted the channel, so we were right to be cautious and to wait. They're a little deeper, their draft is 3.5, ours is 2.3, so here it is on the chart plotter with them heading out and trying again. That's good. The Marina guys with the dinghy were out there straight away, giving them a hand. Now, yeah, just time to, a little later we'll catch up for a drink or two and relax and unwind from this process with Pecadora.
Well, this is it. Goodbye, Bunda Marina. This should be our last marina before we get to Australia.
If you like this video, please click like below and subscribe to follow our adventures.